make this rather snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.
Welcome into Greenie Sports Cards Live, the world's first multi-stream for the hobby industry. And we are here coming at you as we do every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Across a multitude of channels, as it were, from Facebook to Instagram to YouTube to Twitch to LinkedIn and other points in between. And we do that so that you can interact with the show yourself in the streams of consciousness of those social media channels. So we encourage you to do that. Check in on the comment section, contribute to the show. If you have questions for our guests, if you have any comments, if you have breaking news for the hobby industry yourself, you can do that. As we do tonight, we've got a jam-packed show for you, as we try to do every Tuesday night with Greenie and I. We will welcome in, of course, Joe Wysmierski from Phoenix Card Shop, our hobby insider and resident expert in hobby news. Coming up at about 7:10, we'll welcome in Joe, and he'll give us some updates on the hobby industry as we head towards the National Sports Collectors Convention coming up at the end of the month. And as a part of that, we've been featuring dealers and corporate participants with that show, the 45th annual edition of that show coming up from Rosemont, Illinois, which is really a suburb of Chicago. And we can't wait for that. As a part of our dealer spotlight, we will get to talk to Sean Bennett from Steel City Collectibles, a powerhouse in the collectible industry. Many of you may recognize that name, Steel City Collectibles. So we'll get to talk to Sean on the road to the National Sports Collectors Convention. And because Greenie Sports Cards is based in and around the Cleveland area, Twinsburg, Ohio, in fact, we couldn't have a Pittsburgh presence on the show with offsetting that without a little Cleveland Browns. And we will do that, not necessarily with the Cleveland Browns, but the Here We Go Brownies podcast and co-host Dustin Kuck, who took an exclusive behind-the-scenes red carpet tour of the Wilson Football Factory last week in Ada, Ohio. It's where they make all of the footballs and manufacture the official footballs for the National Football League. And Dustin's going to give us a preview and a sneak peek behind the sneak peek of what he saw there in Ada and the process that goes into manufacturing what ultimately becomes prized pieces of memorabilia, if we're all so lucky. So we're going to talk to Sean Bennett, we're going to talk to Dustin Kuck, and we are going to talk to Joe Wysmierski about hobby news. Of course, you can catch Joe and Mike Giuseppe and Danny Black on the new show, Cut the Nonsense, which airs every Wednesday night. Our show, Greenie Sports Cards Live, is presented by Collectibles on SI, and we are very fortunate to be partnered with them. If you want to master the world of sports card collecting, Hobby 101 from Collectibles on SI is your go-to resource for expert insights, market trends, and the stories behind the most coveted cards. Whether you are a seasoned collector or just getting started, Collectibles on SI helps you navigate the hobby with confidence. Explore the latest articles and unlock the secrets of collecting at si.com/collectibles. part of the Sports Illustrated family. Find it on SI. And very, very cool to be part of the Sports Illustrated family. Myself, along with the man himself, Steve Greenberg, aka Greenie. We're going to go ahead and welcome him in and get the party rolling tonight.
Hey,
Greenie,
Jeremy,
welcome
how
to
are
your
you?
show.
Hey, again, it's Tuesday night, 7 o'clock Eastern time. I appreciate it. We got a lot to talk about. I can't wait to talk to Sean. I've known him for 20 years now, and seeing what Steel City has become. And if you're a buyer of wax, he's one of the go-to people. So it'd be cool to hear what they're doing, what they bring to the national, how long he's been doing it, and all things in between.
What's up, James? Thank you for checking in. Again, you, along with and like James, can check in from wherever you may be watching on whatever stream you may be watching. And if it's sensible enough or nonsensical enough, we'll include it in the show. So thank you for joining us this evening. Greenie, I think I bent space and time to get in front of the camera this evening. Had a chance to catch up with Cleveland State coaches over at Hoops and Scoops. From Mitchell's, shameless plug there for Mitchell's, out in the Strongsville area. So very cool to see them briefly, but had to get back to bring you this show this evening. Can't wait to talk to Sean with Steel City. Again, that'll be coming up a little bit later in the program. Prior to that, we're going to get a behind the scenes tour preview from the Wilson Football Factory with Dustin Kuck. And then coming up in just a few minutes, hobby news with Joe W. So Greenie, any quick hitters before we jump in with Joe?
Yeah, we do a lot of NIL cards, and that's we've talked about that. We have over 70 different NIL student athletes, and most, if not all, of the designs came from you, Jeremy, and everybody knows that. But we have hired a designer that's going to help us with the over 250 applicants that we have in the queue right now for this coming season. So, we're happy to welcome Katie Vandermark, and there is our newest graphic designer. So she will be helping us from all the way down in Louisiana, Jeremy, but via Ball State University. So pleased to have her and to see what kind of designs she drums up for us. And that'll be great. I mean, 250 college athletes would like to have a part of a Greenie Sports Cards NIL card.
Yeah, pretty amazing how quickly that took off. And for those that are just joining us this week, we are coming to you across the Sports Cards Nonsense Network as well. You may not be familiar directly with Greenie and I, but Greenie Sports Cards is a powerhouse, one of the largest collectible event producers in the country, with over 25 events alone this year, including the Great Lakes Collectors Convention and the Mountain State Collectors Convention. This NIL division that came about now features what will be close to 300 student athletes from many schools across the country taking part in the NIL deals. And then, of course, this program that we get to do every Tuesday night. So it's a program for the collectible industry, and that's what we try and focus on here. And with that, we'll go ahead and welcome in our resident expert and one of the three, I don't know if you call him a co-host or a tri-host, or what happens when there's three people, equal voices on a show. But Joe is coming to us tonight. And of course, Hobby News is presented by Cut the Nonsense, the new weekly collectibles broadcast with hobby insiders, Danny Black, Gio, and Joe Wysmierski. So you can catch episodes every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. on the YouTube channel. So let's go ahead and welcome in Joe W.
Thank you again for having me on the show, gentlemen. I would just say it is entertainment without labels. Cut the Nonsense is good fun. But thanks for the plug, gentlemen, especially because I'm coming heavy after my Tigers swept the Guardians this weekend. We got you. Finally, Greenie. Again, I'm about 3 years too late on this bet.
You are. Yeah.
But you guys thought you were going to get away with a win.
Oh, we thought
Sunday.
so. Yeah.
You thought. But
yeah, right through the wickets.
A 6-run explosion would happen in the 10th. And then, again, Greenie, I appreciate you paying homage to professional wrestling with the National Mania shirt. And then, again,
RBI Crew 7.
A little bragging here. The Chelsea Blue, we're going to the finals of the FIFA Club World Cup.
Is that a scarf?
Nothing.
Is that a scarf?
That dude, I'm a big soccer scarf collector, but I am a big Chelsea fan.
Where do you live?
I live in the desert. It is
Okay,
clearly
I just want to. Where do they sell those? You had to buy that online. You certainly didn't buy that in a
A
store.
scarf in the desert.
You know what? I actually got
Yeah.
this at Stamford Bridge
Okay.
in England. Yeah, this was one of my bucket list places to go to see a soccer match, and dude, I'm a big supporter. So it was a big win for them. Again, it's the Club World Cup, and that is totally funded by the Saudi government, who gave DAZN $1 billion to stream. So fantastic.
All right. So man wears scarf in the desert. What else is breaking this week in the hobby world, Joe?
Really, the biggest news this week is going to be Mosaic basketball, and why that's such big news is this is going to be the first time this product's actually offered logo men as a chase in their products. So you'll be able to get logo men autographs of NBA players, and that's absolutely huge. Again, with this product, you're going to see 15 cards per pack, 12 packs per box. The Jared McCann right there. It's a gorgeous card, right? Everyone does want to chase, the Jerry West logo man. And if you can get a rookie auto on that, that's going to be a big card in years to come. Being able to get SGA on the heels of winning the NBA championship. But what's wild is you look at these cards, that actually brings a lot of what the Contenders Optic look. So that's like a Contenders Optic preview card that's going to be in there. You can see the stained glass is also a chase. And this will be the second product that Panini does offer in basketball that allows you to chase Luka in a Lakers uniform. And then the last big case hit that you can see there also is what is called the Micro Mosaic card. And those cards are huge. You're looking for rookies, and it looks like I believe it maybe the artist. They have Color Blast in there too. So they're pulling out all the stops now in Mosaic. So this should be a huge product. But those Micro Mosaics, Steve, it looks like I believe Surratt was the artist who did a lot of the different dots. When you go up close, you can see the away, it looks like a beautiful picture. So, boom, you're getting a history lesson while you're on Greenie Sports Live. So this is a huge product that is coming out, and it gives you an array of different products within it that you typically have not seen in the past, with what some would say is a pretty average rookie class. But we could look
very average rookie class. And look, over the years, yeah, it says the same thing.
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to load these products up with a ton of hits because why not? They go out with a bang.
Steve, that's a hot question, but yeah, I mean, why not? You can
how many autograph stickers do they have left of all these guys? Like, what are they going to do with them?
Sell them to Leaf? I'm not sure. But Steve, I mean, honestly, with a product like this, the only concern I have is what we've seen kind of in Optic football. You've seen a lot of downtowns come out with a lot of different people and the guys that you didn't necessarily think would be on cards, and so the excitement of getting it down might have been a little watered down in the past 12 to 18 months.
You think?
People
how are they case hits? They're not. They can't be. There's like 4 in a case. Might be more.
And you're getting them in retail. You're getting them in hanger boxes, hanger packs, mega box. And then, they flipped the script. They also added
that's a cool card. That Mosaic thing, whatever that's called, those are cool cards. The dots.
That is a Pro Mosaic. So that's what I was referencing George Scott. I own one of these myself of Brian Thomas Jr. in football. It's an awesome card.
Sure.
Very awesome. Because it is a chrome-based card. And it gives the appeal of texture, but it's not. It's glossed right over. But the way that the card looks is fantastic.
Has there been a product lately that's done a logo man that's not like a national treasure? Like it's never been really in a product like this.
There has not been. Okay, I'm not sure, but I will say that I have never seen a Logo Man in a product with multiple packs. So like we've seen them in Immaculate, which is like
Well, it used to be when it wasn't as big of a deal as it is now.
Okay.
Right. But
typically, to your point, you're seeing them in National Treasures, Flawless, Immaculate, those bigger type products. Obviously.
Maybe because they have these pieces that they need to use.
And maybe these are. I would be interested to see the back of one of them to see if it's game worn or event. I don't know that the turnaround time is that quick for them to put game worn in, unless they were harvesting these jerseys in January, December. But I don't know, Greenie, when you're doing something like this, you really want to have that game. That game used means all the world to the
that's Panini though. That's Panini. Like right here, that rookie royalty, none of it was even player worn.
And they had they had the time to do it.
Of course you had the time to do it. Of course you had the time to do it.
You know what's crazy is, so this was one of the things we had talked about on Cut the Nonsense, and I've talked to you about AI getting in and kind of ruining like the genuine like reaction. Like you have a product like Rookie Royalty, and I know people do not like the boom or excitement. This like sometimes it's way too much, but like you could put that track, the breaker boom. Wow, like you could just run that constantly because every card that came out of that was supposed to be like that, and it got numb. Like I watched some breaks, and for a product that had arguably who's supposed to be a generational player, there wasn't as much excitement in these rooms with breaks and breakers that you would see. Like there was an occasional person that was excited, but to the point earlier about watering down by having so many kabooms, like what? I mean, where is the rarity or the scarcity of that? And it comes down to we're dealing with a company who's, and it's different for the WNBA stuff, but they're on the verge of losing of these things, so they're doing what they can to get out. And I really will be anxious, Steve. I don't know if you know this 2025 draft class, if they're going to just turn that printer press on and just run the full gamut from now until October.
So, well, it's interesting. I don't know. We know when the license goes to Topps, but like, does that mean that they can't print cards 2 years later that are rookies now? You know what I mean? They're a year behind on rookie classes a lot. Right? Like we get like these Caitlin Clark cards. I know it's WNBA, but like she's halfway into her rookie or second year, and we're getting rookie cards. Right? Yeah. They do that in basketball, right? Mosaics coming out after the season.
Yep.
I wonder what the rule or what their contract says. Like, is it October 10th done? Never can make another card, or do they have that entire rookie class product line? I don't know.
And that's where, you know, we always talk about like having a shop here in Phoenix, right? You know, there can be the stress in the hobby that's put on shop owners when if you're going to get blasted with product, again, you're putting a lot of capital out.
Tons.
And you know, from also the rumors of Topps supposedly holding the majority of the football product until the license goes live next April. I mean, are they going to come out April 1st and or are they going to start pre-orders prior to that where you're just getting hit, boom, boom, boom? Like, I don't know. And if you get to the point where you're not accepting your full allocation, that could hurt you in the future too. So it's really interesting time in the hobby for sure with the license switching. But what I can tell you is based off an article on Collectibles on SI, they stated, I mean, from Card Ladder, last month there was over $300 million in transactions in cards. So, I mean, things are happening. People are still interested. The hobby is still booming. And I think it's not a COVID 2.0 or anything like that. I think we're starting to see more sustained success for businesses, for card flippers, for people who are buying for repacks, and so on. And I'm really excited to have the opportunity to go to the National this year. Thank you guys, and to really experience what the hobby is going to look like and be able to put my finger on the pulse from the episode.
It's going to be pretty insane for sure.
Let's
Joe, let everybody know where they can find you, both in the shop and online tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're at PHX Sports Cards on Instagram. You can also check out our eBay store, or at 59th and Thunderbird in Glendale, Arizona. We are right in the parking lot with Barrow, so come and see us. I will be on tomorrow, Cut the Nonsense, at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Join us, log in. We'll be making comments. Appreciate you, Jeremy and Greenie, as always.
see you, Joe. It's been fun.
Thanks, Joe.
Get the Tigers out of here. Get them out of here.
Yeah, I guess it's rivalry day. We've got Sean Bennett coming up a little bit later from Steel City Collectibles. So as I said, we've got to balance that out a little bit with some Browns action. And we'll do that in the form of our guest tonight, Dustin Kuck from the Here We Go Brownies podcast. He co-hosts that with Ali Highsong, and they had Dustin had a really unique experience last week. He was able to go tour the Wilson Football Factory, where the official footballs for the NFL are made and produced. And so coming up here in a minute or two, we're going to get a chance to talk to Dustin about his experience there. And Dustin he's really a unicorn, Greenie, for those who don't know. He actually is from Boise, Idaho. And most people, if they move away from Cleveland to go somewhere else. Dustin actually chose to move from Boise to come here. He's been a Browns fan all his life growing up there. And he's, of course, a Boise State fan. But he came here and committed to the city, and as part of his podcast that he'll tell you more about here on the show. But really excited to get to hear about this tour of the factory. So with that, we will go ahead and welcome in Dustin Kuck from Here We Go Brownies podcast.
Dustin, what's happening?
Hey, how are you guys?
Good.
And it's Ullery now because she's married, so she'll appreciate it being Allie Ullery instead of that. But yeah, you're right.
Tell her to update your website then.
Oh, that's fine. That'd probably be me. So that's on me. Yeah, I mean, look, here I am drinking from a Bronco Boise State mug, right? And living in Cleveland, Ohio. So yeah, what a crazy life. I just was looking at the calendar. Jeremy, I've been here a year and a half, and it feels like I've been here 10 years. I know that sounds weird, but
the Cuyahoga River will do that too.
Yeah, well, a lot of things will do that to you here. No, and then I have to, and then I got a Steeler guy going after me. I'm like, this is a lot of pressure, for this show. But
set the precedent. But of course, if people want to hear more about the Browns, they could tune into your podcast. You get great interviews with players, alumni. You've had coaches. Give a quick hitter where people can find you, and then we really want to dig into this amazing tour you had last week.
Yeah, so you can find me on Here We Go Brownies on Facebook, Here We Go Brownies podcast on Instagram, and Here We Go Brownies podcast on YouTube are our three main channels. Our show is live every night, Wednesday at 7. And of course, we're happy to have Ray Shodar Prisby podcast, Super Fan Addicts, and Stump Talk podcast as well as part of the A&D Media group. And we're continuing to grow. So it's really exciting. We try to bring as much fun and try to take off the brown and orange glasses as much as possible when bringing the news.
So footballs in Ada, Ohio. Who knew that the official NFL football was made in Ada, Ohio?
Yeah, not only that, but it's been made there for a long time. And I got to tell you, this was a very, very unique experience. And I didn't know they really rolled out the red carpet for us. And I didn't really know what that would be like until you get there. And then you walk in and you're like, man, every ball that's been played in a Super Bowl, a playoff game. I was told Peyton Manning's been there multiple times to film Peyton's Place. I met a woman that has been on a sewing machine for 43 years, lacing Wilson footballs. It's an incredible journey. If you live in Ohio or you're visiting in the state of Ohio, not to give Ohio, a tourism, bump, but you really should go visit this if you're a sports fan, because they do limited tours of like up to 8 people, only for a few hours at a time. But you can go in, you can get a tour of the factory, and I think they let us do a few more things than usual. I actually got to stretch an NFL football, which was kind of crazy, like how they take the inside and the outside of it. And then I learned all the other things that about. And yeah, there's the picture of the stretching the football. It took me over a minute and a half to do that. That guy did it in 25 seconds, and he does 500 of them a day. Jeez. So it just goes to show you the art that goes into these. And of course, collegiate balls are made there as well, and high school footballs as well, and they're different. But one thing that was very interesting, there were 4 sewing machines in the factory that date back to the late 1890s. And the people that sew the final strings, and if you want to, I'll show you this here on the football that I have here. There are strings that are the showcase of the top of the NFL football, these strings right here. And only 4 of those machines are allowed to do the sewing of the NFL football. Now, I was lucky enough when we were walking through, and she said, it's just ironic, but this ball had one slight blemish. I don't know where it is, but they gave it to me. And what's cool about this football, it has this. And these are the official balls that get sent to the Browns and are numbered. And then if you want to buy a retail ball there, you get one like this. So this has a Browns logo on it, but this is for retail. And then if you have something really cool you want to have engraved, they did our Here We Go Brownies podcast and engraved it right into the ball there. But the tour was amazing. It takes about 45 minutes to an hour to do the tour. What's cool is, to your point, Jeremy, it's a brand new facility that's only been open about a year. Right next door is the old facility that dates back probably 100 years. And they said all the people are so excited to be in the new one because it's climate controlled. It's very nice in there. And I got to tell you, Ada, Ohio is a cool little town to go visit because you have the university there, home of the polar bears, and Ada, Ohio. And I figure those are probably the 2 main employers in that town. And just so you know, they work 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. and they get off at noon on Fridays. So it's a very interesting shift. But one interesting thing was they come in the night of the Super Bowl and everybody watches the games or watches the game. Wow. And they start making those footballs as soon as they have an idea of who they know is going to be the winners in that. And they are shipped out within 24 hours of game balls for the Super Bowl. Another interesting thing that I found out is they're actually making all the footballs right now for the 2025 season. And they're going out to all the teams, and they do that in alphabetical order. So Atlanta Falcons, et cetera, and they go out in that order. And then, I don't know if you guys know this, but this is very interesting. The kickers' balls, just the kickers' balls, are actually sent to the hotel, the referees in each NFL city a few days or whatever, a day before, and those are kept with the actual the referee crew for the NFL games, just the kicker balls. So it was really interesting to just see how that all goes about. And then I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but starting in 2019, they showed me right down to they let me hold them. But each NFL ball now has a sensor on it on the field that goes up to a sensor, and it knows where this football is at all times in that stadium. No matter if it's in a bag on the sidelines or whatever, there is a sensor inside the skin of this football that knows in a game where it's at all times. I thought that was pretty remarkable. Now the technology.
Are we at the point, Dustin, that there's a reciprocal sensor on the goal line? Can we get to the point where they can figure out if the ball actually crossed the goal line?
Oh, you mean the tip of the football? That'd be great, because that Kansas City Chiefs game would maybe have turned out a little different for Browns fans. But no, it's interesting.
So-
and that brought up to the point that people were saying, well, does this eliminate the use of the chain gang? So that was a conversation that I was having with the plant manager. Like, if you really do know where this football is at all times, and do you need that chain gang anymore? Because the sensor knows and the lasers know where the ball is. So that was an interesting conversation. Go ahead, Greenie.
Did they tell you how many footballs are used during an NFL season?
I think they get 108 per game. So
That seems like a lot. 108
well,
per game.
well, I mean, there's 108. Sorry, it's 108 per game. So 50 some balls for each NFL team. So take 50 times 10 games that would be that they ship to the Browns and each team, and then the kicker balls are separate from that. But I think it's 100 and some games. And I remember that number from Deflategate. There's 50 some balls on one side and there's 50 some on the other. And they were going through all the balls to see if Tom Brady or whatever with that whole controversy. So, but they ship them ahead of time. So, and then there's like 90 seconds or something, or 2 minutes that I found out that once the ball is put on the field, that person has time to scuff it up and do all that. It's a really interesting science, like if you think about it, these balls, the way they look coming out is not what you see on the NFL field once they're out there, because they can scuff them up and, the quarterbacks want them a certain way
Sure.
But
how far is Ada? Where is Ada, Ohio, compared to Cleveland?
So Ada is about 2 hours and change, 2 hours and 20 minutes from Cleveland Central. You go down, you basically, for me, the directions I would say, take a right at Mansfield, go through farm country, and you'll end up in Ada, Ohio. It's just east of Lima, Ohio. So it's very cool. Like I said, if you get an opportunity to take in, what was really cool, as I said, how many people just stop by here because they hear about it, but they can't do the tour because it was sold out or whatever. And they said, you'd be amazed at how many people just hear about that this is where all the NFL footballs are made. So they just want to peek and get a look of what it looks like. So, and then, like I said, you can buy Wilson branded shoes there in their gift shop, Wilson's. Now, the one thing I will say, and I'll show this to probably Jeremy tomorrow, Wilson footballs in the leather is a special kind of leather. And in each slab of this leather right here, there is a W hidden. A little W is, and I didn't even know that, but there's a little tiny W because each of the leather pieces and there's just a little W that basically is their trademarked inside the leather.
That would be
very cool,
right? That kind of leather. Are they still pigskins? Or is that just
they said they come from Chicago area. They come in via truck. They're actually, and I hope I have this number right, but I think from a cow you can get 20 footballs. I think 20 footballs from a cow, 10 on each side.
That's not a pig.
Yeah. So 20 footballs per cow.
All right, Dustin, we appreciate your time. And I know there's more to come from this tour on the Here We Go Brownies. And so make sure people follow you. Real quick again, where can they find you and follow you and Allie on the podcast?
Yeah, every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. You can find us on Here We Go Brownies on Facebook, Here We Go Brownies podcast on Instagram and YouTube. And gentlemen, as always, I appreciate the opportunity and I love what you guys do, and keep doing it.
Thanks, Dustin. You as well. We appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks, Dustin.
Have a good night, guys.
See you tomorrow.
Yep.
All right. There you go. Dustin Kuck from Here We Go Brownies podcast with some really, really cool insight about the NFL and the Wilson factory down there in Ada, Ohio. Greenie, quick fact that I know he would not publicize this himself, but Uncle Stuart Levine is still the all-time career leading batting average hitter at Ohio Northern University. He set that record some 50 plus years ago, and nobody has beat it still. So heck of a ball player in the family. So quick shout out to Ohio Northern, Ada, Ohio, and the Wilson Football Factory. So we're going to continue on our road to the National with our dealer spotlight tonight. Very shortly here, we're going to welcome in Sean Bennett from Steel City Collectibles. And before that, Greenie, we're going to give everybody a quick preview or a review of the National last year in Cleveland. Quick, if you have not seen it, it is very difficult to explain the magnitude of the show and all of the things that take place. But we've got a quick encapsulation of that as a preview to bringing on Sean with Steel City Collectibles. Very cool. Looking forward to this year's National coming up in Rosemont, Illinois. And with that, we will go ahead and welcome in Sean Bennett as part of our dealer spotlight for the National Sports Collectors Convention, the 45th anniversary of that show. And Sean is with Steel City Collectibles.
Sean,
evening,
can you
Sean.
hear us? There you are. Maybe.
Can't hear you, though.
No. Mm-mm. Put up his card. When we get his audio, you'll see that Sean actually has his own Topps, Allen, and Ginter card. Haley, do you know
That
how
is
we can?
pretty cool stuff.
Do
Little
we have him on mute by any chance?
behind the scene baseball, Sean, if you click on, there might be a settings button at the bottom. If you click on that, it might bring you to an audio, and make sure your microphone is turned to the one you want it to. We'll see if that works. So yeah, 2018 Allen and Ginter Topps. Sean Bennett has his own card,
It's his
Steel City
time.
Collectibles.
Well, he said it's not. I bet you I could call him, and we can get his audio on mine. What do you think, Jeremy?
Yeah, try it.
All right, we'll try it.
Either way, we're talking Steel City Collectibles here
That's right.
this evening.
right.
So you could find them at steelcitycollectibles.com. We're going to show that here. Check them out online, Steel City Collectibles. You can find them on the Twitter, the X, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube,
See if this works.
TikTok, and there we go.
Still can't hear me, huh?
No, but we could probably hear you through here.
Okay.
Wait.
Not ideal. Sorry about that.
No, hey, listen, that's technology.
Yeah.
Jeremy, can you hear Sean?
I can. We'll try and give this a run.
Yeah, perfect.
All right, I'm gonna go. I'm on the default. Let me try a different microphone. See if there's any luck.
Yeah, there you go.
Any luck here? Right now, do you hear me? Or is it still coming through the phone?
Not sure.
Through the phone.
Okay.
Yeah, it's through the
I'll try
phone.
one more microphone.
Yeah. Unless you're mute. Is your phone muted?
My phone's not muted now.
No, hey, whatever. We'll make this work. We're good, Jeremy?
Yeah, I tried muting the microphone. Sorry about this.
No.
I don't know what the issue is.
Well, whatever. It's fine. Either way, we got you on here, and they could see all the different things that are going on there. Fanatics Fest at your booth had to be pretty fun.
Yeah, that was a very exciting show. Just tons of people there. A lot of new collectors, introducing the hobby, a lot of new collectors. That's pretty much what that show has been great at last year and this year. So I continue to see that show continuing to grow each year.
So you'll probably hear a lot more of me than you will hear these guys. So I'll start off asking a couple questions. How long have you been in this industry, Sean? When did you first get started?
Steve started when I was about 12 years old. So that would have been 1990. So I started doing flea markets then, and just kind of basically I was looking for stuff that I could sell because I couldn't get hired for a job anywhere because I was 12. And so I started selling stuff at flea markets, including cards, and I enjoyed it. So I just kind of kept doing it, and then it just kind of built into a business from there.
Yeah, it's great. People probably don't know this. I know this because we've been friends for nearly 20 years. You sold Beanie Babies.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was 1999, 1998. First, I said, "There's no way I'm selling dolls." Next thing you know, my entire warehouse was full of them. And but yeah, I mean, that was a crazy time because that's kind of right before the internet. I mean, the internet was around then, but it wasn't anywhere near what it became a couple years after that. So primarily, we'd go to Gibraltar Trade Center in Michigan twice a month. It was kind of like the premier show for Beanie Babies back then. So Michigan was like a second home to me then. And there'd be times that we'd literally go there, load up, with items in Pittsburgh, go to Michigan Friday, and if we'd sell out, come back Friday night and drive back out Saturday morning, even though the drive was torture, but you just had to do whatever you had to do to, sell as much as possible.
And now you're one of the largest retailers in unopened wax in this country. How did that happen? How do you go from Beanie Babies to hundreds of cases of national treasures?
Well, I always liked the unopened box portion of the industry. That was kind of, I started selling boxes when I was about 16. And just because at the time, not that many people were doing that, whatever shows I was doing or the flea markets at the time, there were really not that many people dealing with unopened packs and boxes. So we kind of found our niche there. And then just over time, basically, we're just trying to get the largest selection of unopened that we could find. If it's unopened, we always say, there's a price that we buy it at if we don't have it. We're always looking for unopened boxes and cases.
Sean, the National Sports Collectors Convention is quickly approaching. It's the 45th annual. Speaking of events, how long have you done the National? And, we're here talking about Beanie Babies, and now it's a Pokemon world. How has the industry changed otherwise from your first National to now?
Well, I mean, now, it's like fire code with the crowd. Whereas, there's some nationals through the years where you could probably blow down the aisles. But that's just, just how great the industry has grown over time. First national we ever did was 1999 in Atlanta, because I still remember those skybox molten metal baseball boxes that were exclusive to the show, which were cool. So it's kind of interesting that the national is potentially going back to Atlanta in 3 years. It's one of the spots. And, we haven't been back. I think that 1999 might have been the last time. I don't know 100% for sure. But I do remember being there in 1999.
In your booth in 1999 and now your booth in 2025, huge difference, right? Now you're right on the corporate floor in the middle of everything, right?
Correct. And, I'd say that booth was probably just 1 8-foot table and maybe, I guess it was 1 8-foot table. Maybe it was a 10 by 10 booth at Atlanta. And now we're at the 50 by 50 booth, which is, as you see, I'm still at the warehouse now, and I'll probably be here until we leave for the National July 27th. But the prep work is pretty insane. But we do have it down to a science now. Just kind of take it back a little bit on that. The first time we ever had a corporate booth was in 2010. And, Mike Burgess was promoting the show at the time. And he called me and said they had like a cancellation, or they were able to free up one more corporate booth and what I wanted, because I, for a couple of years I told him that I wanted to move into a corporate booth if possible, just to be close to the manufacturers doing the the wrapper redemptions for the unopened boxes and cases. And so he had a spot for me, and so I get to the show in Baltimore and I jump on the infamous Mike Burgess golf cart. And that's when I actually thought I finally made it in this industry, because I got the ride on the golf cart. And so as soon as we get to the booth, and he's like, "Okay, here it is." I'm like, "Mike, where's the tables?" He's like, "Well, corporate doesn't get any tables. You just get the space." I said, "I don't know if I could just lay this up on the floor this time," but no, he was he laughed, because he knew that he failed to let me know that that time, and they were able to work a deal with us for some tables to get the booth set up. But yeah, so when the corporate booth is just real estate, and then you construct your setup from there.
And carpet. You got a little carpet there in the corporate.
Oh yeah, you do get carpet. That does help. Yeah.
So yeah, that's, people don't realize that you have a 50 by 50 space that's basically, lack of a better term, taped off, and you bring everything. Whether you may rent tables, but you can bring your own. But showcases, everything you have to bring yourself.
Correct. Yeah, everything. Generally, it's about usually between 22 to 24 pallets, pretty consistently. And it's a big haul, but it's the main showcase of this industry every year. So you want to go there and put on the best display possible.
Do you guys, for lack of a better term, build your booth before the show and know where you're going to put everything in your warehouse?
We do, actually. We started this a couple of years ago, just because getting there, as you run into so many people at that show that you start the conversations or already start making deals basically as soon as you get there. So sometimes your setup time, I don't want to say it's limited, but depending on when you get in the building, you only have so much time to get everything ready to go. So what we do is we lay everything out one side at a time in the warehouse of the four sides of the booth, and then essentially take pictures there, almost like it's a planogram, to where whoever's setting up the booth at the show can just look at those pictures and just lay everything right in the display, just like it left the warehouse. And all the pallets are numbered to the section of the booth. So generally we can knock that out in one day pretty easy, knock on wood. But we perfected the process a lot over the last couple of years.
What's the timeline like, thinking about the national? I know there's some seasonality to the industry and going to different events throughout the year, but you're building your booth ahead of time. Are you thinking about the national all year, and what next year is going to entail?
No, not really. I mean, basically you'll take the information from the national this year and, have your likes, dislikes, or what you want to do better and what you want to improve on for next year, and kind of use that information to your benefit for next year's show. But when it comes to prepping for this show, I mean, the online side of things and like the retail side of things, just the whole industry is clicking on all cylinders right now. So I know everybody wishes they had a 30-hour day, but then we just probably need a 36-hour day, right? So we figured out a way to show up that 30-hour day. But we generally start prepping like this past weekend is when I started invoicing out some of the merchandise for the show. And so we'll do a little bit each day, probably for the next 2 weeks before the trucks are loaded and sent on the way to Chicago.
Yeah, so I was going to ask that. So you get trucks and you don't ship stuff; you get it hauled out.
This will actually be the first year we actually have a truck taking it out. Previous years we've had our staff drive box trucks out there, but this will be the first year that we have a dedicated truck doing that for us.
Mike wants to know if you guys have any cracked ice houses or kaboomies on that truck.
I don't know what that is.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's enough. So.
Then, right.
Yeah, he'll have a triple cheeseburger there. So
how many staff members do you bring for the national?
For the national, we bring 12.
Yeah, and they're watching. I mean, you essence have a 360-degree booth. I mean, it's all around, right? You're not on a wall.
It's four sides. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a lot of eyes. That's a lot of product. Man, what is the most product that you're bringing? Like, do you have this many cases of top Series 1, 2, or do you know what you have the most of?
I don't know necessarily what we have the most of, but to your point there, will be whatever products the manufacturers have as part of their redemption are generally the ones that we have the most of, just because those are the products that get the most interest.
Yeah. Is that still a big thing? The VIP packs, the Panini Gold, like, do they still do those in the Panini parties?
They do, and they're both, and they're all incredible value adds for the consumer. So, I mean, look, if you're going to open those boxes anyway, a lot of times you might as well open them to the National to get the extra bonus packs in addition to what you're already opening. So, yeah, they're definitely tremendous value adds for the consumer.
Sean, I got a two-part question for you. Want to take you in the Wayback Machine and ask, what is that first card or item as early as you can remember that gave you the bug and you knew the industry was for you? And then with that, fast forward to now, what is that prize piece in your personal collection?
Oh, geez, believe it or not, I don't collect. So,
good. Neither do I.
From that standpoint, yeah.
so what got you invested in the hobby, though?
I mean, like I said at the time, like when I was a kid, I was looking for any ways I could, anytime I wanted to buy something, my mom would say, "Hey, get a job." I'd be like, "I'd love to get a job. Nobody will hire me because I'm so young." And so I just, like I said, I started selling at flea markets, and the card that actually made me realize the trading cards were valuable would be I found a price guide in like a Toys R Us, and I started going through the drawer of packs that I had, and there was an 85 Topps Don Mattingly at the time, like the book value at the time was $10, and I thought it was like $1 million at the time, and that kind of like said, wow, there's some money in this stuff. So that's kind of what has kind of sparked my interest in selling trading cards. Yeah, from a hobby standpoint, I mean, me and my wife, we love to travel to all the different Steeler road games. I know you said Brownies guy on, and but I throw some Steeler love here. I wear the Pirate hat, but I should wear the Steeler hat, I guess. But all joking aside, we like to travel to all the different Steeler home and away games every year. So it's kind of just our thing there that we do. So that's kind of my hobby there.
I do know you're a closet Cavs fan, so you have a little Cleveland in
you. Hey, yeah, correct. Yeah, so Cavs are my favorite basketball team, and I love going to Cleveland. Every time the National is there, I think where we at the Melt a lot.
Yeah. Well, not anymore. They're no longer, but you used to be there. Yeah, they shut down.
Worst news I've heard today.
Yeah. Yeah. You know how restaurants are a tough business.
Very true, they are.
So back when we first started, we all were in the early late 90s. You could buy a box of cards for $50, $75, and now we're at transcendent cases at $20,000. Like, what's next? Like, what is this industry going to in the wax world?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of good buys right now, especially so to your point, the consumer that would have generally have bought the $50 hobby box years ago is buying the $50 mega box now. We're seeing a lot of increase in mega box business. I think that's going to continue. I mean, there's a slippery slope between supply and demand, right? Everybody wants everything to be worth something, but if you print the living daylights out of it, it's not worth anything.
Sure.
So I still think over the next few years, just because of the popularity of the business and the collectability of it, you're still going to have some of your base brand products, like your tops 1 and 2, that will still be $150 or less. But I really don't see too many other hobby boxes falling into that realm here, at least short term. But there are plenty of different, whether it's mega boxes or Panini's started doing some hobby blaster boxes, hobby mega boxes that have some of the hobby content in more like a retail type packaging, and it's definitely more affordable pricing than the hobby boxes themselves. So I see that happening more as well.
Another serious question, Greenie, from Thomas Fisher. I think we know him as Gemini Sports Cards. Question for Sean: what does Kenny even do?
I'm guessing. The card image came from Tom.
Yeah.
Tom at one point was the world's largest holder of that card.
So he still is, and you're right. Haley, can you put that picture back up? Tom owns 20% of the population of this card. Two of the 10. Do you know where the other 8 are?
I do have 3 of them.
Okay, so we know where 5 of them are.
We know where 5 are. I have not seen one surface for a long time.
So I was looking. I mean, I looked on eBay about the last week, and then I looked on Google Images, and I found nothing. I knew Tom had one, so I was like, "Hey, I need a picture of Sean's card." And yeah. So, how did that even happen? How did you get a Topps Allen Ginter card?
It was actually part of basically remember Topps Transcendent would have that party every year, and then it was one of the prizes at the party. That's pretty much just what happened. So so that was cool, but I don't know if you guys can still see me at all. It looks like I'm just having technical difficulties.
Yeah, but that's all right. We can hear you just fine.
We can hear you.
All right, good deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just I just basically won in a Transcendent contest. So that's kind of like the background of that one.
But how does that feel to have you actually have your own trading card? It's in a product. Now, there's only 10 of them, but somebody had to hit that in a pack.
Yeah, no, that was cool. It was definitely cool, and the other thing about it would be it's interesting because very rarely will somebody seem to have a hat on. It's like extremely rare, but they had like a no hat rule for that particular card. You couldn't do a picture with a hat. Although I've seen other cards years later that had the hats and just airbrushed out. So I guess if I do it again, I'd do it with the hat on, airbrushed out.
Yeah. Very cool.
All right, Sean, we really appreciate you joining us this evening. Before we let you go, let everybody know where they can find you at the National. Again, that booth number and location in the corporate area.
Yeah, that booth number is 345, and right next to Topps and Leaf, and our website, steelcitycollectibles.com. Got a pretty large selection of open boxes and cases. I apologize for all the technical difficulty here today, guys, but I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah. Do you know what the rarest box you're bringing to the National is?
The rarest box. I don't think it's that rare, but you just don't see them as much anymore. I just invoiced out some 95, 96 Topps Finest 2 basketball.
Oh, yeah.
Which, some of that, we've seen a big increase lately in popularity of the early 90s or late 90s, early 2000 basketball. Stuff where you can still chase, Kobe and MJ autos. I know they're few and far between, but the cards are going for so much money. If somebody hits one, there's definitely a lot of people that like to take their chances.
Perfect. Well, Sean, we appreciate it. We know that you'll have the largest supply of wax on that floor, and we look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks.
All right, guys. I appreciate the time today.
Cool. Thanks, Sean.
Thanks, Sean. Tonight's special guest segment is supported by Sports Cards Nonsense. Hosts Mike Giuseppe and Jesse Gibson break down the hot releases, smart investments, and everything collectors need to know on their new podcast episodes that drop every Monday and Tuesday on Sports Cards Nonsense. So, Greenie, packed show tonight. We appreciate everybody joining us here. We do this every Tuesday night. I want to mention as well, what makes this program unique is the live auction that takes place with our auctioneer extraordinaire, Alex Schott. You can catch Alex. He'll be back on at 9 p.m. through eBay Live. You can see it on the multiple streams, but you really want to get into eBay Live and join Alex. All auctions start at $2. Get in with him. Have a lot of fun. He's got football, baseball, basketball, and the show's dictated. That portion of it is by input from the audience. What cards you guys want to see up for auction, and then have at it. So, Greenie, our thanks to Sean Bennett, Steel City Collectibles tonight. Dustin Kuck from Here We Go Brownies with that exclusive Wilson Football Factory tour. Our thanks to Joe W. You can catch him on Cut the Nonsense tomorrow at 8 on the Sports Cards Nonsense channel. Our thanks to Haley behind the board. Greenie, thanks to you as always. May the cards forever be in your favor.
Yeah, great show. And we are less than 3 weeks from the Nationals. So we look forward to seeing everybody there. Have a good night, everybody.